and he joins me now from the airport in Cyprus, I assume. Or are you at the hotel? Where are you?
I am currently at the airport in Cyprus. Yes. I'll probably be checking in about an hour.
Okay, and as our listeners may will follow your journey, you were one of the 1,500 students and young people evacuated from Israel on board a cruise ship since
That's
a couple of
exactly right.
days. Um,
It was a nice cruise. Yes.
and
It was like
what did you
proper cruise
stay
ship.
in? Like, was it like did you have your own bed, your own stateroom, or what? How did that work? The accommodation.
The accommodations were tight. It was 3 or 4 people to a stateroom. Patrick, safe travels. I'll give you more context on in a minute. It was like 3 or 4 people to a stateroom. Pretty small stateroom, if I'm being honest, but we all had our own bed, so that was nice. We were usually in bunk beds.
How long was the journey from when you set sail?
The journey was about a solid 18 hours. We left at 1 p.m. and then we got in at 8 a.m. the next morning or 7 a.m. the next morning.
And was it rough, like seasickness wise?
Honestly, no. The winds were not too intense and the ship was big enough to counteract them. It was actually, for the most part, a really fun experience. There are times where I had to like remind myself, wait, Philip, this is not just a pleasure cruise. You're being evacuated right now.
What did the kids with you and your friends call the ship?
We called it the Jew cruise. There were a couple jokes going around comparing it to Noah's Ark, but we stuck with Jew cruise.
And was there enough food for everybody and like
Oh,
facilities?
beyond. There were a lot of restaurants, buffets. There was no issues with food.
Oh my
This
God.
was a proper cruise ship.
It's
It
a
was a
small
hotel on
one,
water.
like not like a Royal Caribbean, like a smaller, right?
It wasn't quite at the Caribbean status, but it was a pretty good ship.
And were you the only people on that ship, or were there regular paying passengers too?
To my knowledge, it was just us, or at least 90% of it was us.
And did your whole group come out with you from Olami?
We actually were given the choice. We were basically told this is like literally the night before. We were given so little notice about this, like 7 p.m. the night before. We were basically told by our group leaders, all right, there is a ship. We did not know if it was a cruise ship or not at the time, just for some context, leaving at, and we were going to leave at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning to get there. You can come if you want, or if you so choose, you can stay in Israel with family, go to yeshiva, seminary, whatever you want. But we had to make some pretty quick decisions. And at that time, we were not 100% sure what type of ship it was. A part of me was really nervous because I was like, wait, am I going to be sitting on the floor of a cargo ship for 15, 18 hours? I'm like, I did not sign up for this. What's going on? But my top priority was getting out of the country because it was getting really insane.
And I'm sure that a lot of parents back home were really nervous. Did you checked with your parents and what they wanted you to do?
That was my first call. They trusted my judgment, but I think they were happy with my decision.
So you were in Israel, and where were you located before you got to the ship? How long did it take to get to where the ship was?
I was located in West Jerusalem. So in terms of safety in that area, it was one of the safer areas, saying that knowing that we were in and out of bomb shelters about 10 times during a span of 4 days. I think like 6 or 8 times in one day. It took us about an hour to get to the port of the ship, which was in Ashton.
And were you
About an
able to
hour away.
board right away, or were there a delay where you had some more incoming stuff to deal with?
Good question. There was a delay because like a couple hours before we boarded, we got sirens, or at least we got the pre-warning for sirens, but sometimes it's hard to tell which is which. Where some group leaders were telling that people get out of a bus, get down on the ground, hands above your heads. Yeah. Now, this might have ended up being a little bit of an over exaggeration, because apparently it was just like a warning, but I still did it. It was uncomfortable, but I'll take that over an alternative. And I literally I was hearing cars go behind me, and I was like, wait, those are cars, right? They were, but it was scary. But
So
yeah, we had delays.
when you got there, I saw some videos that people sent other people, and there was like a reception committee, just like you're getting on a cruise with staff dancing and right?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
this was a legitimate cruise.
Except that the ocean is closed. The Navy is not allowing any ships to come in, the flotillas, whatever, and you get like the royal treatment. How do you balance those two things at the same time?
I mean, Birthright, they really pulled through. Like, I was expecting this to be a cargo ship, a really uncomfortable ride. It was anything but. It was honestly a lot of fun.
I saw they had like pool parties and music, just like a
Oh
normal
yeah.
ship.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. But like, not just like a normal cruise. It was all Jews, and it was a lot of songs that we know.
Was there an open bar and stuff? Because some of them are like booze
Not
cruises,
open
right?
bar. Not there were bars, but it was paid. So not quite an open bar.
I guess you kind of deserve it after being there for such a scary time.
That's what I said. I agree. And
Tell
then
me more. Tell me more. Sorry.
When we got to Cyprus, they put us up in what looked like a four-star hotel. I don't know exactly. It was a very nice hotel with a beach, a 20-minute walk away, a really nice pool right on premises. And I was like, you know what? With everything we went through, we deserve this. Obviously, I was extremely grateful that they pulled through on such short notice.
And so now you're going where? Do you know how you're getting home? I mean, we won't run this I won't run this till tomorrow, but I mean, by then you might be in the air. But maybe if you want to tell us some of your travel.
I can either give you a short answer or a long answer. Oh boy. So this was supposed to be the plan. The plan was go from Cyprus to Poland, then to JFK in New York, and then to Toronto. And I was supposed to be in Poland, probably at the gate for the JFK fight right about now. But what happened was when we got on the plane, we were on that plane for 3 hours and it was not moving because I'm not sure if this is 100% accurate, but what I heard was that the rockets that were happening were actually messing with the navigation systems. So they didn't feel comfortable flying. And this is after pulling close to an all-nighter. We got to the airport at 1 a.m. We boarded around 5 a.m. And at 8 a.m., we were told to get off. And at that point, Birthright and Olemi just said, let's get these guys home any way that it takes. They kind of put it more on us. They said, hey, we'll give you a couple options, but if you want to make your own way home, we'll give you, I think it was like a $3,000 USD up to that in reimbursements. They basically said, get yourself home. So now my new flight path, maybe a touch scarier than the first one. I'm going to be flying to Egypt first, and that flight leaves in about 4 hours. But then from there, after about a 6 hour layover, it's going to be straight Egypt to Toronto. If everything goes smoothly, I will be home in about 24 hours.
Whoa. And you're flying by yourself, or you have come friends with you?
No, I've got some friends with me on the flight.
Okay, good,
There
good.
was I was not doing this on my own. Nuh-uh. I did try and book myself aisle seats at least. Although they may have removed one of them even though I paid extra for it, but whatever. Honestly, I'm just happy to be getting out.
It's quiet in Cyprus, right? You don't hear any. You said that it was like messing up with the guidance, whatever, but you don't see any of the bombs or hear anything at all
No,
when you're there, right? Okay, I'm just curious. So
no,
it's far
but
enough
actually
away.
something interesting. While we were on the cruise, about 3 hours after departing, we did see a rocket get intercepted over us. I don't know where it got intercepted, but over our heads, we could see like the jet stream. It was all wavy. We knew it was intercepted. Someone said that they saw the interception get shot, but that was happening while we were on the top deck, the pool deck.
Whoa. But you didn't
And
hear any booms or anything. You just saw the smoke or whatever. Or you did.
we saw it. We saw it. I didn't hear any booms.
Okay.
Maybe some people did. I didn't.
Was told that the Israeli Navy was escorting you. Is that correct?
I'm unsure if it was the Israeli Navy or international or US. I think after a certain point, once we got to international waters, it had to be US. But we were escorted by Navy, yes.
Wow, I didn't know the U.S. Navy. I know the U.S. Navy moved people there, but I didn't know you couldn't
I'm
tell
not
from the
100%
ship,
sure.
right? Yeah.
It wasn't close enough. It was far enough that I couldn't see which Navy it was. But yes,
Okay,
there was
but
a Navy boat escorting
let's just
us.
unpack that. So your Navy is escorting you. A Navy is escorting you across the Mediterranean. How does that sit with you? How did you feel about all of this effort to keep you safe while you're in the danger zone?
Multiple feelings. First off, it was like, wow, who am I to deserve all this type of protection? Like, I just came here for a 1 week volunteer trip, not exactly royalty. But the other part was just the fact that they felt it was necessary made me feel a little bit more on edge as well. It's like, okay, this is actually a risky journey I'm making. It's easy to forget that when you're surrounded by bars and pool parties.
How did you keep yourself calm? Or what did you do to like when you remember these things? How did you proceed?
I just really went for everything the cruise had to offer. I've actually been on some cruises before, so I just really let myself go all in and try to have as good a time as I could. And then there were times where I just gave myself some downtime. I was like, all right, you're good. Just relax.
Have you ever experienced anything like this in your entire life?
Never. This was an absolute first. In and out of bomb shelters, literally while we were doing Kabbalah Shabbat, had to go to a bomb shelter a few times. And we just kept on seeing Kabbalah Shabbat in the bomb shelter, which is something it was kind of incredible and something I never want to experience again.
You went to Israel knowing that they were in the middle of a war, but not like this.
Ish.
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 Right. Why did you want to go anyway?
I had the opportunity to go last year, but last year things were still way too climactic. It was still way too fresh, and I just did not feel safe to go. This year, so I thought it seemed a little calmer. It seemed like less was happening from Gaza. So I was like, and the country still has need. So I'm like, okay, I passed up last year. I'm not going to pass up volunteering this year. And then, of course, just my luck, this year ends up being way more intense security was because of Iran. No, no, I should correct that. Not because of Iran, because of the Iranian government. I try to separate those two.
I hope that your rest of your journey is quiet, boring, very boring. Be boring.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that.
That we see you on the other side here in Toronto when you get home.
Please.
Thank you so much for zooming in from Cyprus Airport.
Absolutely.